Because at the end of the day, I'm just another human experiencing life for the first time. So, I'm gonna make mistakes. There's gonna be certain things that I feel like I know and I could be completely wrong on it, and I just have to accept that. Welcome back. Welcome back. Y'all, I just got to work. Baby, I opened today. I I sat there and sat in these people's faces for like 6.5 hours. It's a lot. I enjoy the people I work with sometimes, but at the same time, as someone who thrives in their solitude, it's like it don't give everything it needs to give. I love the people I work with some of the times. Sometimes I don't really be feeling it all that. We're gonna get further into that in this video. Gonna be talking about navigating friendships in your 20s, navigating friendships after being in solitude for so long, navigating friendships after not really being open to having friendships. So I can give a little backstory. Let me give a little backstory. This would probably give you a better understanding of how I look at friendships now and why I look at friendships the way I do, what my life was given up until now. Growing up in a predominantly white area, I went to a predominantly white school. I was one out of like a handful of Black people in my graduating class, whether that's elementary, middle, or high school. There's always been mixed race, but there's more Black people coming in here. So that's what's happening now. When it came to making friends, it either gave token, because this is one thing about growing up African and like being first gen, especially like what my family has come from. We got the like, you're gonna have to try like 10 times harder than your white counterparts. You're gonna have to abide to certain rules. They're gonna look at you differently. We got all that, but I didn't get like taught the culture when it comes down to it, for real, for real. There was a lot of things that I did not understand. I would let a lot of stuff slide. A lot of underlying racist remarks that I probably got told that I didn't realize were racist up until like when I gained knowledge, because I didn't have that like culture of it all. When it comes down to it, I was trying to appeal to people because I felt like I needed friends. I felt like I needed people beside me. I didn't want to be left out. I FOMO. I didn't want to be experienced that. So I would let a lot of things slide just to be included in certain spaces and with certain people. That's what my childhood basically gave up until I was in high school. I had a lot of people I back then would say were my friends, but there were people who just associate with me because I was like that cool Black kid who also happened to be a little flamboyant. So, that's its own talking point. I probably felt like I was popular. At that point, I did feel like I was popular, but it like really didn't live up to anything. And that's why I say to like kids now, anyone who's younger, it don't matter if you have a lot of friends, because who really knows you at the end of the day? Who really knows what you're about? Who knows your personal life? Who knows your private life? Who could you call when you're in need? Who can you count on? Who would be there for you if you really needed help? And out of all them friends, you can all probably pick like 1, 2, maybe 3. Maybe you got like 5 solid people you can count on. Aside from that, all that popularity, it don't amount to nothing. It's just a social status thing. It's not really what it is. Maybe if I can only go back and tell myself that way before, but hey, I have to go through certain things for a reason. I would hang around a whole bunch of different friend groups. You can catch me with anyone. The only core group of people who I could say were really my friends and really knew what's up and really like knew that side of me were the alternative girls, the goth girls, the emo girls. Those girls saw me. Those girls had it for me. Shout out to my girls. Y'all know who you are.
I love you.
You think like being friends with all these people is like something that's gonna benefit you in life, but little do you know you're gonna fall out with all them people when you get out of high school. And that comes with it too. You're only friends with these people because you're close in proximity. You're going to you have the same routine as these people. You're going to the same place as these people. You're seeing them every single day. You're in close proximity. So you're going to eventually talk and like create little bonds with these people. But after you progress and you get out of those places, maybe you will not see from them again unless those people actually like you and you like them and there's a mutual connection and y'all choose to keep the connection alive. You know what I mean? Because it takes two. after college. And you know, I was in college during COVID, so that even hit me, like, and that really, I feel like, excelled my venture into solitude. Like not really having friends and not really talking to other people and just being secluded and on my own. Up until then, I felt like I had a lot of friends. I felt like I had people who knew me. I felt like the friendships that I had made were good. But when I look back, like, baby, it really wasn't all that. No shade. And it got to a point at some point where I was begging people to essentially be friends with me and like me, not having any self-worth for myself, not understanding myself, not understanding what I brought to the table in terms of energy. It just, like, it wasn't cute at all. College me, I feel like I was still on the same type of wavelength. The people I was being friends with actually liked me and actually wanted to be friends with me more than like it just being a proximity thing. But in the same sense, like, I still didn't have a good sense of self-worth, and I still like didn't understand myself, and I was just doing a whole bunch of, like, at the end of the day I was just doing a whole bunch of, like, girl. So COVID hit, I dropped everyone. The people, whether it was like slow fade outs or actively telling people I don't want to be friends with them anymore, or like what have you, I basically was in solitude. I didn't talk to anyone. I went inward and I was trying to find myself for the most part. I can't say, oh, I'm a victim of like all these people's personalities, how they acted. Nah, because at the end of the day, you are what you allow. So I allowed a whole bunch of BS. At some point, I really thought the people who I made friends with were like supposed to be like ride or dies, locked in with me. They're supposed to listen to everything I said. They're supposed to abide by my rules. Like, very controlling person. I'm a Taurus moon. And if certain people didn't abide to that, I wouldn't be shy to cut them off. It forced me to really reflect on the relationships themselves and reflect on who I am as a person and it is that I allowed. And I realized I let a lot of stuff fly just to be in close proximity to these people and to say that I had friends, because people have a big stigma around the idea that you have to be friends with a lot of people and that like reflects your character. Yes, it talks more about how you are with other people, but at the same time, depending on who those friends are, it talks more about you. Back then, I was just obsessed with the popularity of having friendships and like the status of having friendships. And now when I look at friendships, I'm more so looking at the people and how they are just an experience. I'm not so controlling over what people say and what people do, more than accepting them for who they are, because I'm going to accept myself for who I am, allowing them to be, and allowing myself to experience them for who they are, teach me whatever it is that I need to learn through them. If we stand the testament of time, then so be it. But if it is so that like we fade out or we start not seeing eye to eye, or we have a disagreements and we need to break off from that friendships, I have no problem doing that. I think through my solitude, I had become so comfortable in allowing things to be and allowing things to just let go. When I come into friendships now, like, I don't have such a hard grasp over people, and I feel like I don't let people have a hard grasp over me as well, which in turn allows me not to be fully vulnerable with people. And whilst I say that, like, could be a good thing, it can also be a bad thing. You couldn't really block yourself off from feeling a lot of emotions. Like, it's very much so a double-edged sword. The way I view it now, I don't really see that as an issue, but some people could. When you're looking at a different viewpoint, if my viewpoint changes as I get older, my viewpoint changes as I get older. But in my 20s right now, and with everything that I want to be accomplishing and everything that I see for myself, I can't allow myself to be so obsessed with these people to the point where I'm like giving up myself and not focusing on the things that I need to do and steps that I need to be making. And then we have a falling out or whatever, and then now I'm down and out, I'm down bad, I'm miserable, I'm so hurt that I can't get back up again. I can allow myself to be present in these relationships, be present in these friendships, be vulnerable and feel process any emotions that I do need to process, but I'm not gonna let that be like the focal point of my world. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not allowing that anymore because that's how I used to be. In high school, I was part of a friend group and they would all hang out without me, and it would get me so upset to the point where I like approached this girl who I felt like was basically the main person for getting these people together, essentially because they all used to hang out at her house. And I'd be like, yeah, I don't like how I feel. I feel like y'all don't hang out without me, and it really makes me upset. And this and the third. They ended up inviting me more, but I didn't really change my relationship status with the people in the group, essentially because if they didn't want to invite me and they didn't want to be friends with me, that's how it is, point blank period. You cannot force anyone to be friends with you. So I should have took it as that and went my separate ways, but instead I'm over here fighting for people who are feeding me breadcrumbs, girl. Don't do that. Don't do that. If they feeding you breadcrumbs, you better accept it for what it is and keep it pushing, honey. But yeah, navigating friendships now, I feel like I very much so have that view that like these people are experienced. I should enjoy them for the time being. If that turns into a long-term thing and we stand the testament of time, then so be it. But if it's not a long-term thing, it's not going to be something that I'm going to be so heartbroken over, because at the end of the day, I got to make sure I'm good. And I feel like, to also say like solitude is a good thing, solitude brought me a lot of selfishness, and I feel like you should be selfish in this lifetime, because at the end of the day, you're only living for you. But if you want to build community, build like a safe space for yourself, you also have to learn how to not be selfish. You be selfish in certain aspects, but you gotta know when those people are being selfless as well, and then now the reciprocation can start from both points, and now you're actually growing something within the relationship, the friendship relationship. At this point in my life, I'm allowing myself to just be and navigate these experiences, because at the end of the day, I'm living this life for the first time ever, just like the rest of y'all. This time around, I'm really allowing myself to just be, not really harp over how I show up in these relationships. Whilst I'm being intentional with the moves that I'm making, I'm not trying so hard to control the situation. I'm not trying so hard to control the people. I'm not trying so hard to have control over everything that's happening. I'm someone who I like when things happen naturally. So if we don't mesh, we don't mesh. If we mesh, we mesh. And that's it. But yeah, I feel like navigating friendships in your 20s, we're all learning. At one point, we were all hurt. So having that grace is important.